Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a feeling that is just everywhere. That deep, nagging sense that you're just not motivated. But what if I told you the problem isn't you? It's not about willpower. It's about the world we're living in.
I mean, does this sound familiar? You feel completely stuck, totally drained. Even the smallest tasks feel like climbing a mountain. You know exactly what you should be doing, but you just can't. If that's you, you're definitely not alone. And the reason why is what this is all about.
And this leads us to this huge paradox of modern life. On one hand, we have more options, more information, more entertainment, more everything than any other time in human history. And yet, the reality for so many of us is this deep, sinking feeling of apathy. So what's the deal? Well, that feeling, it's not some personal failure. Nope. It's a product of the era we're all living in. Let's call it the overstimulated age. Okay, the very first thing we have to get straight is this. If you're feeling this way, you are not lazy. You're not undisciplined. That feeling of no motivation, it's a symptom. It's a warning light on your dashboard telling you something in your environment is seriously out of whack. And the root cause has a name: hyperstimulation. It's the constant, nonstop barrage of notifications, videos that just start playing, a newsfeed that never ever ends. It fills every single second of quiet, every gap in our day, leaving us absolutely zero room to just think. And here's where it gets a little scary, because this constant buzz isn't just a surface-level distraction. It's literally, physically hijacking your brain. And it works in this really destructive cycle. See, it starts with the buzzes and the pings. Each little notification, each short video, it gives you a tiny, easy hit of dopamine, the pleasure chemical. But your brain gets used to it. It gets desensitized. And pretty soon it needs bigger and faster hits to feel anything. Suddenly, real-world rewards, like finishing a tough project or having a great conversation, they just feel boring. They're too slow. Your whole reward system gets hijacked for cheap thrills. And that really is the heart of the problem. Easy pleasure kills real motivation. When our brains are addicted to the quick, easy fix, that deep, patient motivation we need for big, important goals, it just withers away. But it goes even deeper than brain chemistry. This lack of motivation, it's also a kind of protest, a protest from your soul. Think about it for a second. When your mind has absolutely no downtime, it kind of loses the ability for deep thought. You stop contemplating, you stop creating, and you just start reacting. You're just bouncing from one stimulus to the next, trapped in this loop of consuming and reacting, with no space for your own genuine thoughts to surface. So that feeling of apathy, that stuck feeling, it's not a weakness. It is the muffled cry of your mind suffocating under a mountain of superficial nonsense. It's a sign that you are absolutely starving for something real, something with meaning. Here's an amazing way to picture it. Imagine your mind is a plant. In our world today, we stick that plant in poor soil. I'm talking about empty, superficial goals. Then we blast it 24/7 with the artificial light of constant digital noise. And we completely cut it off from its natural rhythm of growth and rest. The question is pretty obvious, right? Can a plant in that environment truly thrive? Of course not. It's not the plant that's broken, it's the environment. So the real question is, how do we change it? For that answer, we can turn to the incredible wisdom of the psychiatrist Viktor Frankl. And his solution is as simple as it is powerful: find meaning. Now, Frankl's ideas have so much weight because he didn't just think them up in a comfortable office. He was a survivor of the Holocaust. He lived through the absolute worst that humanity can inflict. And it was in those darkest of places that he discovered a profound truth. Our will to live is tied directly to our sense of purpose. To really get what Frankl was saying, you have to see how he was different. You had Freud, who said we're all driven by the search for pleasure. Then you had Adler, who said it's all about the drive for power. But Frankl came along and said you're both missing the most fundamental human drive of all, the will to meaning. It's not about what feels good or how can I be on top. It's about answering the question, what is my purpose? And that brings us to his most powerful insight. Purpose is the ultimate fuel. He said that a person can endure almost anyhow as long as they have a why. And maybe that's our problem today. We live in a world that gives us endless hows, how to be productive, how to be happy, but it starves us of our why. So that begs the question, right? How do we find our why in a world that is this loud? Well, the answer starts with embracing something we have been trained to run away from: silence. We're so conditioned to see any empty moment as a wasted time, something to immediately fill with a podcast or scroll through social media. But what if silence isn't a void? What if it's not empty at all? What if it's actually an invitation? An invitation to finally listen to yourself. And when you look at it this way, the choice is so clear. In the noise, you just react. In the silence, you actually reflect. In the noise, you're constantly being told what you should value. In the silence, you get to discover your own values. In the noise, you're always running away from yourself. It's only in the silence that you can actually find yourself. And this is Frankl's ultimate message. It is one of radical empowerment. Because at the end of the day, everything can be taken from you: your job, your possessions, your comfort, but no one can ever take away your freedom to choose your attitude, to choose your own way forward. That is always yours.
So I'll leave you with this one question. Your motivation isn't gone, it's not broken, it's just buried under layers and layers of noise. So what is one piece of that noise you can choose to silence, starting today, so you can finally begin to hear your own voice?